Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Elite Series League of Legends Division 2 here. Today, just with me, I'm in a solo cast, but no, not exactly in a solo cast. I have a dear friend of mine with it. I hope Roswa had something prepared for it. Today, I will be casting with Nah. It's nice, right? Isn't it nice to be here in this double cast setting together with my best friend? It's amazing. Anyway, today we will see a tiebreaker match between Riftsloss and AOMA Esports. But before that, we can just have a quick look about the playoffs bracket. Because in the next couple of weeks we will have the whole brackets, the whole playoffs. And for today's match, we will just decide if AOMA or Riftsloss will have the first side selection. So the tiebreaker today, kinda not that important, just side selection, but still we need to make this tiebreaker. And we can already see it's Dynasty against Repass in the lower bracket match, because Repass won their tiebreaker game against Pertinex. So that happened yesterday. And just as a sneak preview, I think Repass won their last 2 games actually against Dynasty. So who knows who will win the playoffs game. But you can see on next Wednesday we will have AOMA against Riftsloss, and on next Friday we have Dynasty against Repass. So stay tuned for that. Of course, everything will be here on the Rift Entertainment channel. Probably with me, probably with Daniel or Medius, or maybe even QG, who knows. We will, of course, offer you a great broadcast as usual. In the meantime, we will have one little game today, just with me, and it's an honor, it's a pleasure. Yeah, just because I never actually did a solo cast in English, at least. I mean, my whole career was solo casting in German, but not a solo casting in English exactly, so it will be a banger anyway, and I'm not alone. And the funny thing is, sometimes if I pause, I'm not pausing because I don't know what to say, but actually Na will say something, but you will not understand him. So that's actually, every time I pause, he has something to say. And that's really funny, because usually I'm the analyst, and now I can make all the crazy play-by-play, and then just sit there, sip of my water, and Na will analyze the team fight. So it's really amazing to have someone like him here. And anyway, we are now. Oh, that looks with the red bar in my face. I don't know how to position. Anyway, yeah, we have Riftsloss against AOMA, and the funny thing is, we saw this exactly game last week on Friday. Because we had just a matchup between those two teams, and Riftsloss actually didn't ban out the Draven, and then Beavis just stomped them in this game. So it's a good thing to ban out the Draven, and then just we have the normal bans against Riftsloss at the moment. Misfortune for Kinetic, Swain, of course, for Batu. They worked out pretty well, and they actually banned out the Maokai instead of the Lilia, for example. I would rather ban out the Lilia, probably. Oh, oh man, I'm sorry. It's just, anyway. But we have Lotus's Tristana, actually, and we saw it plenty of times from him. So, and I need to, oh man. It's, I hope I will not do that again, I'm sorry. Yeah, we have Lotus's Tristana. I really like this pick. We saw it a lot, or maybe the third time or something. So they are actually confident on that. And now the guys of Riftsloss will go for Varus on the ADC position and the Lilia, which definitely makes sense. We saw it plenty of times. It's the strongest jungler probably of Neao, so just securing it makes sense. Right now, Tristana could be a flex pick, but it's probably for Lotus. But they don't know actually, so they just try to get a good ADC, that just try to get a good jungle pick for themselves and not to just think that they need to counterpick something. And there's Garbush's Wukong actually, and quite surprising actually that Garbush's Wukong came through the pick ban. Normally, I think in the last matchup we even saw it banned or something, or at least on the last match days, because Garbush plays a lot of this Wukong. So they rather banned out his Kragas and his Zac. Probably have something prepared against it. And the Lilia usually has a good or kinda good matchup, just because Wukong likes those 80 matchups because he gets the armor, and against the AP matchup, like the Elise or like the Lilia, he can at least be 1v1, and probably even some shenanigans with the dot of Lilia, so that you can see when Wukong is running away. You can just see that the damage is ticking, and you will see a little shadow of him. So probably still a good matchup for the Lilia. Rakan and Renata Class will now be the two support picks for both teams. Right now, that would definitely speak for Saya Ban, probably on the sides of Frivslot, just because you don't want to give away Saya Rakan. That would be at least my guess, because it should be the Tristana mid lane. That would definitely make sense. And you could, of course, ban out Mark's Fiora. He is a really big player on it, so just banning it could make sense, but they actually go for Gwen and Shen. So rather, either they want to go for the Fiora like last week. I think Riftslots played the Fiora. I can't quite remember against... they played it against the Shen, actually. So either they want to go for the Fiora this time again, or they prepared something else against the Fiora. But Mark actually played a lot of Sejuani in the last couple of weeks, so maybe they just think, yeah, the Sejuani will be fine, and they will not pick the Fiora anyway. There's Bukan's Chase, actually. We saw it, I think, 3 times, 4 times, and then a couple of bans or something. So Bukan, definitely a good Chase player. We saw it even on the last match day against Once Upon a Team, where he needed to play against a Pantheon, for example. So definitely he is experienced on his champion. But there is actually Akali, so it's either Tristana bot lane or Akali top lane or something. So definitely some crazy pickups. And they bamboozled us. They flipped up the trap spell on the Yu-Gi-Oh board and just said, haha, we just tricked you into the spell, and it's Tristana bot lane. I mean, Tristana with Rakan actually is a really strong lane. You can engage on some squishy targets like the Renata, like the Varus, so should make a lot of sense. And that's actually the Sejuani, like I mentioned. Mark plays a phenomenal Sejuani, and he needs to play against Lexus Camel. So we have the full draft ahead of ourselves. We have Akali against the Chase, and I really need to say that I like the draft of AOMA. It has something to do with a really strong 2v2 matchup, and I think it's really snowball heavy, so if Tristana gets a lead there, it could be over for Riftslots. Mid lane matchup, if Akali gets a good all-in as an assassin, she can definitely try to kill Chase. And top lane even, probably Lexus playing without the flash, so Garbosh and Mark can definitely try to kill her with the quick stun, with the quick knockups. And I need to say, I rather would like to play on AOMA's side, actually. I mean, not that Riftslots have a bad draft or something, but yeah, I think AOMA won it, especially with the little bamboozle trick with the Tristana. Now, anything to say to that? Yeah, exactly. I thought the same. They didn't pick up now, so horrible draft. and from both sides. So actually Na was saying both lost the draft and should never play League again, and that's a bit toxic now, but I can understand you, I can feel you. Usually I say that if people don't pick up Poppy, but you cannot always go for your OTPs, right? And those players are pretty insane, so they will not go for their OTPs. And so we will not see a Na, we will not see a Poppy, so it's sometimes it is what it is. Anyway, with that, and I hope Na is with us, we will have a really great game ahead of us, especially because both teams want to win. Not that it would really count for anything. I think side selection in a best of 5, screw it. You don't mind usually. If a team in the best of 5 loses, then they get side selection anyway. So a team definitely gets side selection in at least one game. So side selection from the start will not change a lot. But I mean, it's for the glory, it's for the honor. Being the first place team in the regular season feels insane. So I mean, and actually both teams won one game against each other. So we are sitting at a nice cozy 1-for-1. So actually it's a best of 3, and we will either see one team winning or another team winning. So I kind of like the scenario that we have at least one winner at the end of the day. And with that being said, we are in game. I talked through the picks, I talked through everything, and now if you maybe get a nice zoom out, we can hopefully see a really wonderful game ahead of ourselves. Last time AOMA quite stomped Riftsloth with a phenomenal performance of Beavis. And this time, without his Draven, the cards are shoveled again, and both teams have a pretty good hand. So if they play their cards correctly, they can, of course, win. And I don't know, those card metaphors are not really my strong suit. But actually, we saw that they kind of face-checked it, but I think because both teams pinged it, Riftsloth should know that they stand in a ward, so Rakan, of course, will not just jump in. He will just face-check it, and I don't know quite why. Edward got a huge chunk, and I don't... Did they really not see it? I mean, I thought, but maybe it was just intelligent pathing that they came from the wall into the brush, but I think the ward and the turret should have saw it. But I don't know. Crazy play there by the Riftsloth. I thought it couldn't happen, but it actually did. And Edward got a huge chunk, and especially mid lane matchup. I talked about that. Oh, good Q here, good handshake, but in the end, a really wonderful ball here from Tristana. She gets the first blood. Beavis with the plays in the end. It's a 1-for-1, but still, like the bomb, really strongly played. I think he even cleansed the ignite, so well played by him. And it's 1 kill for the ADC against 1 kill for the support, so it's a good start for the guys of AOMA. And by the way, if anybody of AOMA sees this, greet Vamir from me. Vamir is a great coach. So I actually met him in person one day in Austria, so I hope you have a great time, dude. You are amazing. Anyway, we could saw a glimpse of the mid lane matchup actually. Chase as a lane bully should win the early game against the Akali. Usually she can bully as well against melee champions, but especially against the Chase with more abilities than she has. He can definitely poke her with autos into the jump, into the knockback, so that hopefully she cannot land her own combo on him. So that should work for Bukan there in the mid lane. But especially after level 6, usually Chase has a good level 6 because he has no real ult. And something like Akali can definitely go for the solo bolo then. with her own level 6 power spec, especially if she goes space before that, gets a small item lead, and then just engages them instantly. Then she can definitely go for something. But we already saw that Bukan used his teleport in the mid lane, so he has now the Tear of the Goddess actually in his pockets, and will hopefully go for some more poke, would suit him the best. Anyway, there's Gabosh just with a nice little transition gank here into the mid lane. Normally you try to at least poke a little bit, but you knew that Liao is there, so there was no poking at this situation, so they both just crossed the mid lane and didn't got hit by a big truck like deer crossing. And not just and I mean, this joke actually is pretty good because there's actually a deer who crossed the mid lane. I mean, kind of for a non-native speaker, that was a really good joke. Anyway, but I needed to explain it. It's so bad. Solo casts from me are all so bad just because I usually drift in the wrong direction. Anyway, Beavis goes in for the engage. Good knock up here from Rakan, and in the end, oh, maybe they can turn, but no, it wasn't enough. So really good kill there by the bot lane of AOMA. So 2 for 1 right now in the current standings, but there's the top lane kill for Lex. Well played. Good cross map play, but the knock up and the bomb is enough. So Batu actually dies there, and like I said, Tristana Rakan has a lot of snowball potential, especially in a lane where there are just 2 unmobile champions, and both are not really like mobile. I mean, they don't have a dash, so Rakan especially, but also Tristana can always jump on them, and if they have the lead, then this lane works even better. So that could be a huge vital point now for Rift slots, and they really need to be careful, because otherwise it kind of is like in their first game, on Friday, that they just will lose through Beavis, who plays this Tristana phenomenal. But I mean, just look at the farm. I mean, both ADCs don't really want to farm. They just fight, they just die, they just go base. So 29 to 27. But there's at least a huge wave now for Beavis, so he will at least be ahead in CS, probably after this big wave. But still, they don't farm. Actually, it's kind of funny, because someone like Klotos already has 50 farm, for example. I mean, that's quite huge, considering it's just minute 6, and he got pressured a lot in the mid lane. So he could actually go for perfect farm at minute 6. I mean, that's kind of insane for a mid laner in this early game. He has the perfect farm right now, and that's awesome. So really well played there from Lotus. Now the 1v1, just dodging a stun there probably by Lex, surviving it with the Hex Tech ultimatum, and in the end AOMA can go for a Drake, and actually there's no Herald. So Herald just spawns in minute 8, and with that, there's no possibility of a cross-map play other than a gank, and Liao tried his best, but there was no ganking opportunity, especially because Lex used his Hextech ultimatum, so they had no way to like catch Mark there on the side lane, and with that, they just lost the track for nothing. Good knock up, good bomb, and in the end it's not enough to kill him here, but still a lot of damage. Beavis needs to be careful at least. He has 3 stacks, but there's the re-engage, a good burst, and they get the kill. They even get 2 kills. Wonderfully played by Kinetic. Even though he got knocked up, he just had everything played correctly in his favor and just got 2 of them. Oh, they see Garbush, but I try to bait it with the ultimate. Wonderfully played. But in the end, Garbush just outplaying it with his own W. And I mean, that's insanely played from both. And now he even goes in with the Cyclone. Can probably just kill both of them. I mean, they are not really that tanky, and Garbush just gets the double kill. I mean, just think about this play. First of all, Kinetic and Batu tried to bait him with their chains. Then he sidestepped it with the W, and then he just got a double kill because they just went a little bit too greedy in the end. So really well played. At least there's the cross map play, but they can't go for the Herald. And in the end, they get engaged by Beavis. He will sleep here in the end and will not get some kills. But the Herald is gone for both teams probably. Nobody will really reach this eye of the Herald, and I mean this game is really messy from both sides. I mean, they don't play really cleanly right now. At least do a lot of small mistakes. But that's funny because we are seeing them both really on like the edge right now. So they really go for every single play and just try to punish the plays of the enemy team, and it's so crazy to see them both just trying their best. And now they try to go on Rakan. The bomb is ticking and there's Lex down. They trade 1-for-1 at least. Camille kill for Tristana kill. I don't know if that is even worth it. If Lex can do something with this kill, then it's probably worth it. But the hyper carry Tristana can do so much in the teamfights later on. So Lex really needs to be the carry in the later teamfights with his Hextech ultimatum and with the Cho'Gath ult on every single Q just to burst down this ADC. And Camille's can definitely go for those one-shots. So kills on him will do him a great favor, but yeah, it's really rough to trade that even. And right now, from the gold at least, we are sitting at a 1k disadvantage for the Rift slot, so well played at the moment by AOMA. I mean, we can see it in those farm leads, especially top lane a little bit, but actually the mid lane is crushing right now Akali in this matchup against Bukan's Chase. Lotus really plays his heart out and get us actually a 20 CS advantage, 10 CS. And that's in a range against mini matchup. I mean, just think about it. Normally, the range champion should pressure the midi champion enough to not farm that well. But this Akali not even has the perfect farm, or had the perfect farm, but actually is just farming really well in a hard matchup. I mean, Chase as a lane bully isn't that hard, isn't that easy to survive, and he did it. So Lotus, definitely right now a player you should look out for. Kinetic could go for the snipe if he wants to. If they knew that Bewiz has no cleanse, then he could at least land it, and Liao can always follow it up. So he could go for it, but no, Garbage goes in. Bukan can't get out. There's the perfect execution. So Lotus gets his first kill of the game, and this one-man army definitely flexes with their muscles, and they want to win this tiebreaker. That's for sure. So really well played right now from all of them actually. Oh, the chains don't land, and in the end, Garbage has no ultimate, but there's the wave and a lot of auto attacks being traded, but it's not enough to really do something. Batu maybe in the later team fights can crush it with this ultimate, but right now it's just not long enough to really do something. Oh, Lex goes in. Really good trading. If he had Ignite, he could have... he has Ignite, so probably it wouldn't been enough, but that was close, and Mark needs to go base. There's the engage on Bukan, but Bukan kinda gets out. Double knockup coming out there. Liao can't really go for the sleeps. There's the 4-man sleep. That's huge, but they can't really follow it up. Beavis even surviving the burst, and in the end, Rift Slots needs to get out of there. They get some platings on the top lane, but that's it. And they just lose the second Drake of the game. I believe in the last series they lost all 4 Drakes. So right now, Rift Slots really needs to step up in their Drake control department, because you cannot lose every single Drake usually. And now they even get engaged. Big engage there on Kinetic. He's just dead. Perfect execution. And if I want to say so, it was perfect executed from Lotus, flashing, ulting, Wing. So really, that was really a nice play by their team. Even of course, Edward needed to flash as well for the knockup, but it worked out. Kinetic died there, and I mean this recall was really greedy, just in the middle of the lane. Everybody could always stop it, and yeah, he just thought he was safe, but he wasn't in the end. Mug now goes for this little 1v1, but he has some backup at least. There's the knock-up, and they can get Lilia with the knock-up off Garbush. Really well played there. He even gets Lex in the backline, but can't quite kill him. Liao will get killed, and now they get a little bit pins here. Then there's Bukan, and now Kinetic in trouble, needing to flash, but the perfect execution will be enough. Akali with the next kill. And I don't think that ESLOL are having at least some chance in this game left. I mean, the team comp, like I said, is a little bit weaker on almost every single part of the team comp, and they are just behind. And like the whole game plan and the whole draft needs to be played from ahead. I mean, that's usually the thing. If you draft something like the Varus, if you draft something like the Chase, those champions usually want to be ahead, especially a Chase, and they aren't. So I even believe that the scaling, especially because of the Tristana, is much higher for the sides of AOMA. Not that ESLOL isn't scaling, but I think especially this hyper carry with the lead already can do a lot of things. And we saw his Tristana, we saw his Draven performances, we saw his Tristana performance here. So who can stop this guy? Maybe Lex. Maybe that's the game plan. Just going for the Hextech ultimatum, going for like the burst of Bukan and Liao. But like one of the biggest problems of this team comp is that they just don't have a front line, and nobody can tank Max Ebola. Nobody can really tank Garbush, who's going in. Like the only real disengage is Batu. He needs to land a good ultimate. He needs to land like the Q to kind of stop those dashes. But besides that, nobody can really tank those big abilities. And if nobody tanks it, at least someone will die. And then the teamfight is almost over, because then Tristana gets a reset, and like you even have a second Wukong ult, you have a second Akali ult, so like that there are ways to get back into the teamfight after you caught a single member, and like nobody is really tanky on the sides of ESLOL, so just going back in for a second time will kill a second member probably. And with that, there's not much damage left to really win a teamfight for ESLOL. So if I needed to put my money right now on one team, I would put it on AOMA actually. I mean, they play it really cleanly right now, and they just don't give any room to breathe, and like it's actually looking really bad for this Rift bot lane. And like in the past, especially with the Swain and Misfortune combo, Rift bot lane was a huge part of those wins. And now seeing them playing from behind really hurts me to see. So Kinetic really needs to step up a little bit in this game to come back, and it's a rough time for this Luxembourgish player in the Rift lineup. And I mean, games like this really show how great a team really is if they can find a comeback. But no, it's just the engage on Batu, he gets killed. Perfect execution is enough. Even the tanking from the tower, but it did. Oh, that could be the double kill. It's the double kill. Big shutdown, and that was not a good dive. They just lost the two members there because Akali wanted to tank the turret for Bibis, but in the end there's even a knock up onto Lamau, and he is just dead. really well played there. They can even try to go for something there, but don't want to. Lex is at least winning his sideline matchup, and with Lotus and with that, maybe there's a chance to contest Drake, but Gabush, he just goes for it, and like, that's the third Drake. And with that, Soul Point will get reached for AOMA. And like, there's nothing to be done here. And I mean, if we want to be honest, this little comeback there with those 2 kills actually just happened because Lotus and Bewiz just overstepped. But if they don't do that anymore, and if they just will play cleanly through the end, then like those comeback chances will get really rare. And I'm really not like I'm really like a big Rift fan. I'm a big AOMA fan as well, but yeah, it's rough. I definitely see the win for AOMA right now, and I would even predict it, just because it's like it's the likeliest outcome right now, and there's not really lots of ways to come back now. Bukan maybe in trouble. The perfect execution. Number 2 can be placed here, maybe on legs. They get legs and even get out there, but there's a big sleep now. Gabush in the meantime gets at least someone back, and Lemao can't really get out of there. He gets knocked up, so another kill for Gabush. Just 3 for 1. It's rough, man. This monkey, the monkey is just cracked. And like there's a German phrase, I don't know if I want to say it, but like there's a German song, and the song is named "Give the Yellow Green Monkey His Sugar." I mean in German it's like I translated the name, and like this monkey is definitely on sugar. I mean he's cracked, man. He's cracked. Maybe it wasn't sugar. But he just shows why Gabush is probably one of the best Wukong players in our league right now. And he shows why they normally ban it against him. A lot of teams like did the big mistake to let it being open, and yeah, he does a great job right now. And especially, and that's something people usually forget, with the Black Leader, with his Qs, he shreds a lot of armor for Bewiz, for example, so for the hyper carry. So while he is destroying everybody, he even makes it easier for Bewiz to carry. So like that's really a big problem right now for Rift. I mean, they get a little turret damage at least in the bot lane. Get some shutdown gold, objective bounty to say it, but it's really not enough. And like it's 7k at the moment, the difference between both of those teams, and Bukan tries his best with the best stats right now, 2-1-1, but like Chase is not a big hyper carry. I mean, he can go for poke, but they didn't really draft the poke comp, and even though they might have drafted the poke comp, like hard engage with Wukong, Sejuani, and Rakan will always beat the poke comp, so that's not going into their favor. And then like they drafted a little bit of side lane and split pushing, but triples, sleepy. They might get Gabush here, but there comes a teleport. Big comeback here, maybe from Kinetic. He gets a big shutdown there, but now gets ignited, and he might die. There comes Lotus from behind, and it's disaster for Rift. Double kill, triple kill for Mark, and now Lotus even gets the next one. 5-4-1 in the straight, and that could actually be game if they just save the minions, because they have Tristana. Tristana makes a lot of turret damage, so maybe AOMA just finishes right here, right now. They have played enough, they have tooled enough, and now they just want to show the sloth who is boss in the jungle. and they hunt down their prey. Now the Nexus probably falls, but there's the whole squad. Maybe Beavis can go for it, and he goes for it. What a finish call in the end by Beavis. Amazingly played by this ADC player, and yeah, that's quite a game. We saw that. I would really like to see a full series, but we need to wait at least for Wednesday to see a full series, because then we will see best of 5 between those two teams. AOMA finally won their tiebreaker game against them, so they are actually the winner of the regular season. So congrats, man. Congrats to Amir, the coach, and of course the whole team. They played phenomenally and deserved this place number 1 actually. ESLOL, they started strong. In the end of the split, they lost to AOMA twice and need to play a full best of 5 against them. We might get up like the graphic for it. Maybe Rishi can just show us the playoffs bracket again, just that we can see it a last time before playoffs. There it is, Wednesday. It's finally time where we will see those two teams at least 3 more times against each other, because it's a best of 5. So we will maybe even see 5 games, and the last 2 at least went for AOMA. So they get in with a small lead in confidence, with a small lead in just pure head-to-head standings, and even have the first side selection now after this tiebreaker. So AOMA definitely with a small advantage going into this first best of 5. And then of course in almost a week on Friday we have Dynasty with my boy Skellen in the jungle against the Italian Orc, against the squad coming from the qualifiers, coming into the league and just clutching it out in the end in the tiebreaker against Pertinax. It's Reapers Gaming, and they really want to make the Cinderella story come true. They really want to make it from qualifiers into Div 2, into playoffs of Div 1, into Div 1. I mean, that would be quite a story for the Reapers. So let's see if Dynasty can build up their own dynasty here in Division 2, or if the Reapers just like in the meme, go from door to door and slice them all apart. Who knows? That's it for today. Let's go back to me, and if it's ready, to me and my color caster, my little Na. If the graphic is still there, it would be amazing to have some last words from you, my dude. Just say anything. Yeah, you heard it. Was wonderfully analyzed from him. No Na, no win, and yeah. But thank you Na for being here. Was a great duo cast, and yeah, it was a great time with me. I hope you enjoyed my first ever English solo cast. I mean, it was quite a pleasure to be here, and I hope you had at least some fun with me today. GG is going to Rift, GG is going to AOMA, and yeah, with that, I would thank the regie, of course, just because he did a great job in the background. We two just did a whole stream together here, so just greetings to the regie, and hopefully we see you, all of you, on Wednesday together for the first best of 5 of playoffs. ESLOL against AOMA. See you soon, and yeah, have a great time. Have a great Sunday. Bye bye.